Welcome to practice. We're going to begin laying down, making an easy start to the year. Let's take a blanket and make a long, narrow strip under the shoulder blades. If you put your arms out to the side, the blanket is lining up underneath your chest and close to your arms, your underarms, and neck comfortable. I'm really in love with this posture for the way it helps me tune into the rib cage. So if you start to take some deep breaths now, you will notice the way the ribs are moving, influenced by this support under your shoulder blade. And notice too, if you're just protecting yourself, you're holding a little bit of tension from getting into the posture. And let go of any of that tension that doesn't feel necessary. Just, allowing yourself to be sinking into the floor, the support, your practice. Feeling the movement of the ribs and the rhythm of your breath. The rhythm of the room around you. Outside world around. The planet breathing out and you breathing in. You breathing out and the planet breathing in. And as your body gets used to this strange shape underneath your back, noticing what that feels like for that middle part of the spine between your shoulder blades, to be embedded into the front of the torso. And let's take that feeling now into forward virasana. So bringing your legs together and rolling gently off your equipment. Curiously, into a kneeling position towards the back of your mat with your arms forward. And you take your hips back as close as your knees allow to your heels. Breathing deeply. Feel that part of the spine where the blanket was just supporting. Feel what movement is available there with the breath, with deep and satisfying breath. And then downward facing dog pose. Stay tuned in to the rhythm of your breath. Keep the legs bent to begin with and start to explore moving the torso a little closer to your leg. I'm going to try moving the right ribs closer to the right leg and then the left ribs closer to the left leg, side to side. And let your head just hang down. Feel the space between the shoulder blades, behind your heart, forward, supple, strong. And now press the heels, alternating one heel and then the other down towards the floor. Aim for your feet to be hip width, parallel, legs parallel. Notice if the action of bringing tension to the legs to stretch them causes you to lift your head, to lose the feeling of the rhythmic breath. And then we're going to pad the feet forward, little steps, trying to move all of the joints of your feet. So when you lift the heel, keep the ball of the foot on the floor for the longest possible moment. Padding the feet forward without lifting the head. And then feeling where you get a little bit stuck and figuring out how to roll up from there. Maybe you walk your hands in and taking the arms up and looking up. And then Tadasana. Lovely. Come to the front of your mat. We're going to take the arms behind so that we can bind the arms somehow, maybe just holding the forearms, or you might be able to easily reach upper arms or prayer position. But that arm bind, we can't help but the spine being forward. Feel the front of the legs strong, lift them. The back of the neck long. We're going to bend the knee. Reach your torso forward. Top of the head reaches forward. Elbows in and elbows back. Sides of the neck are long. Feeling the nourishment of the breath. Movement of your rib cage. The resistance of the leg. The willingness or unwillingness to stretch. Just notice what is. And then bend the knees and roll up. And take the arms up. Beautiful. So we had the spine really embedded forward into the front of the torso for that forward bend because the arms were behind. Let's forward bend now, trying to keep that shape in the spine, but just noticing any difference. So bend the knees. Try to keep the spine forward, and you can feel around, and maybe you notice the bones of the spine popping up towards the ceiling. That's okay. Let's just feel the stretch in the back. You can let your arms onto your legs or dangle down, your head dangle down, even turn your head a little bit from side to side, shake a little bit, nod a little bit, and feeling the rhythm of the breath. And that feeling in the legs, whatever that might be for you, the willingness or the unwillingness to stretch further. Now we're going to bend the knees and roll up slow from here. We release each of those vertebra discs. Coming up, we'll take the arms up. Okay, so let's go forward again. But this time we want to really be aware. If you feel around to your lower back now, can't feel the bones of the spine popping back behind you. So we're trying to embed them forward. And what you can feel is that lovely back core muscle either side of the spine. So we want to keep that really evident to the back body. Good. So forward bending and try to keep the spine forward. So what you might find is you can't go as far, and put your hands on your legs for support. But notice that feeling in your lower back. We aren't washing the front of the disc. Oh, I've got a sunset lighting happening. You can't feel, that squashing that happens of the discs when we go into that full forward bend without thought. Good, and you can still feel there's a willingness or an unwillingness in the legs to stretch. You can still explore what that is, and maybe you can even get one leg to straighten and then the other leg. Good. Now, we were feeling around for the lower back, but imagine that spine between the shoulder blades where we started the practice with the blanket. Try to bring that spine forward and enjoying each breath. This act of really being in your body, treasuring your body, treasuring the breath. Great. We're going to step the right leg back. Take quite a big step so that we can come into a lunge position and bend your front knee. And we're going to put the right knee on the floor. Good. Let's lean forward as much as your knee allows. And try to keep your left heel on the floor. And we'll lift the breastbone. So we're feeling the spine moving forward. Lengthening the neck, drawing the shoulder blades down. And then we're going to straighten that leg, the left leg. And maybe it doesn't go all the way to straight. It just feels impossible. But play around with, again, that willingness or that unwillingness to observing, enjoying the curious state, finding the rhythm of your breath. Good. Now we're going to step forward and at the same time lift up, stand on your left leg and bring the right foot in front. So a few things to coordinate there. And again, taking note of where the body is willing or unwilling, or maybe even mine was unable to coordinate. And appreciating. We're standing in Tadasana. Appreciating. Okay. So just remind yourself about the bones of your spine. We're going to try and keep them embedded forward. Pick your arms up, look up. And then Uttanasana. Following the rhythm. Feeling the movement of your rib cage, the supple movement of every rib, of every vertebral joint. Okay, left leg back. So it's a nice big distance, and we're going to bend our front knee and put the back knee on the floor. We're going to lean forward over the front leg. Try to keep the right heel on the floor. Try to bring the bones of the spine forward. Breathing. Oh, good. And now we're going to lift the back knee off the floor, and we're going to try and straighten the front leg. Now, it might not go all the way to straight, but let's explore what feels easeful there, feels difficult there. Without losing the intention to keep the bones of the spine forward. If you feel that having your hands on the floor is just making that impossible, have your arms up on your leg, playing around with getting that front leg straight. Good. And then from here, we're going to step forward and we're going to lift and we're going to balance. That's the intention. And just noticing if that's a difficult trio of movements for your body. Tadasana. Finding the rhythm of your breath. And then inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Then take the hands down onto the leg. Feel the bones of the spine embedding forward. You're going to reach the top of the head as far forward as you can. And maybe you can start to think about straightening your leg. Notice how that feels. See if you can keep the spine feeling healthy, nice and long. Not compressing. Try straightening the legs again. So exploring. There's a willingness and there's an unwilling. Beautiful. We're going to take the right foot back and a long lunge again. And this time we're going to have the back knee off the floor. So we're in a long lunge and we're going to try and sink the hip forward. Good, lifting the breastbone. I'm up on my fingertips to reach. Okay, now we're going to lift up from here. So bring your focus into your feet, into your legs. Hold steady and bring the torso up and the arms up by the ears. Virabhadrasana 1. So the front leg is bent, back leg is straight. We're going to look up and sink the hips again. Lift the breastbone. Beautiful. From here, we're going to step forward, lift up and balance on the left leg. And then take Tadasana. Urdhva Hastasana. Feel the healthy spine, where the spine is taking up vertical space. No compression in the discs of the spine. Lifting. Keep that length. Coming to Uttanasana. Pay attention to your leg, the feeling of wanting to stretch, of not wanting to stretch. Take what you need, what feels nourished. We're going to take a big step back with the left foot for a lunge, and the front leg is going to be bent. The back knee off the floor.
but really power up the feet and the legs here. So we need strength in our foundation to lift the torso now. Lift the arms, Virabhadrasana 1. Straighten your back leg, bend your front knee. Sink the hips as you look up. Ah. Nice work. We're going to step forward, stand up and balance on the right leg. Taking that moment of balance and then placing the left leg down. Tadasana. Inhale, arms up. Urdhva Hastasana, looking up. And then Uttanasana. Finding length through your spine. Ah. Good. We're going to take the right foot back for Trikonasana. So straighten your left leg, but also be willing to bend if you need to. We're going for straight. Notice how your torso is tipped and you're looking down at the floor. So we're going to keep lifting the torso now. Bring your left hand onto your left leg, right hand onto your right hip. Keep lifting the torso until you can find the ribs in alignment with the leg. And that's both sides of the ribs. The right ribs are moving back, right hip is moving back. You might have lifted up quite a way to find that good alignment. Finding your breath. Feeling of being in your body. Feeling your agile feet, strong legs. And keep lengthening your spine now. Reaching into Trikonasana. If it feels fine for your right shoulder, take that up. Trikonasana. Triangle pose. And we keep our alignment. And we feel in that body the willingness to stretch, to reach, and the unwillingness. Accepting both. Treasuring both. Mm. Mm. Beautiful. I'm going to bring the right hand down onto the floor again. So we're facing back towards the floor. See what we're doing. And we're going to step forward, lift up and balance on the left leg. And then put your right foot down for Tadasana. Second side, Urdhva Hastasana. Uttanasana. Feeling the bones of the spine, treasuring the health of the spine, the stretch of the leg. Good. We're going to take the left leg back for Trikonasana, which means you line up your right heel, your left inner arch, and your chest is facing the floor here with the hands on the floor. Play around with straightening that right leg, but maybe straight is not serving your back the best. Time straightening and loosening and straightening and loosening. Okay, and then we're going to start to lift the torso up, but you need to feel agile in your feet, to feel the feet, strong in your legs. But as you lift up, the leg's going to be able to straighten. Lift your kneecaps. Good. Keep sliding the right hand up the right leg until you can bring the ribs in alignment with your legs. So you're not leaning forward over your right leg anymore. Even if you're lifting all the way up here, but feeling that lovely alignment. Let's try to turn the hips a little bit more, left hip back. You can take your left arm up if that feels fine in your shoulder and your neck. Good, and we're trying to avoid making a banana shape with the spine here, so we're making even length both sides of the spine. And then as you breathe, reaching, exploring.
and treasuring what is. The breath, the life force, your ability to attempt such a complex movement. Mm. And then you're going to release your left hand down onto the floor, turn to look back at the floor. We're going to turn the hips to face forward. You're going to step forward, lift up and balance on your right foot. Mm. And then Tadasana, mountain pose. Mm. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see what I'm doing from the front. Feet under the hips. So we've been doing something quite complex and balancing for a moment before we return the foot to the floor. So we're going to begin with the feet under the hips, feet hip width, so that they're parallel, so the toes aren't turning out to the side, they're facing forward. And the legs are parallel then. We try to imagine the knees looking forward. We've got nice parallel, aligned lower limb. Feel the length of your spine we've been working on it. Flow of your breath. Feeling of the ribs moving with the breath. Enjoying the space that you're taking up. Okay, so let's try that balancing for a moment. I'm going to balance on my right foot. I'm going to lift the left leg. I'm going to imagine that I'm feeling around for a good spot to put my foot down. But where I'd like you to land it, without looking if you can, is back under your hip width. Your feet are parallel, your legs are parallel. See if you can feel that. Especially if you've got a tendency for the toes to turn out when you walk, you're going to feel a little unnatural. All right, let's balance on the left leg. And you're going to feel around with your right toes as if you might touch down, and if you're feeling around for a really good spot with that foot, but then you're going to bring it back. Try to place it down parallel. You really feel like you need to look and try and feel. Okay, let's go again. Balancing on the right and feeling around with the left. Feel around behind you. All the way around. But then we're going to land back, feet hip width parallel. So start to feel what that is. Let's do one more. The, balancing on your left and feeling around with the right. Feeling with parallel feet and legs. Tadasana. We're going to step the feet out wide, wider than your leg. And you can jump hard. That's nice for your bones. You can jump softly, like the core. Or you can even just carefully and wisely step out, kind to your fragile self. Feel your feet. So try to turn your toes in a little bit and press the outside edges of your feet and lift the inner arches of your feet. It's as if you're trying to press the ankle bones, inner and outer and ankle bones, out, straight out to the horizon. Lift your kneecaps, your quadriceps, front of your hips. And we're going to look up. And as you exhale, Let's bend forward. We'll think about the spine, the bones of the spine, moving into the front of the body. Hands down on the floor underneath your shoulders. If you don't reach down that far, you're really paying attention to the bones of the spine. You don't want them to pop up towards the ceiling. Put your hands up on your neck. If you do reach the floor, we're going to try and walk the hands out further as far as you can and bring your ears to line up with your upper arms. We're trying to stretch the body here from the anchor of the hips, so don't swing the hips forward, take them back. Through the side waist, through the armpits, the chest, the sides of the neck, the arms. Good. Keep lifting the kneecaps. If you just set your legs and forget them, it's easy to over straighten. So keep lifting the kneecaps. If it hurts your knees at all, keep them a little bit bent or enough bent so that there's no pain. Lift your sit bones. Enjoying the rhythm of your breath. For your whole life on this planet, that breath is with you. Me, with every living being on the planet. Beautiful. Think about sitting from this position. So what I'm going to do is bring my hands back underneath the shoulders, and I'm going to pop my feet into a squat position and sit from there. But you might need to come up and approach it from a different way. But just treasuring your movement. Treasuring sitting with as much ease for yourself as you can. And take a seat onto a blanket. When you use a blanket to sit, it just tips the pelvis forward a little bit. And yesterday we were exploring the forward and back wave. So we're going to think about, again, just above the pubic bone. So if you think about your belly, it's right at the base of the belly, and even reach around with your other hand and locate your sacrum, that flat piece of bone, the back of the pelvis. Good. And we're going to try and wave the spine, really focused on leading the wave with that low, very low part of the torso. So we're even lower than any of the vertebrae. You can notice them moving. Right? You don't need to use your hands. It can be useful for location if you find that it helps you keep your focus there, then use your hands. So a spinal wave, try to include your neck in that wave. Try to keep your focus down really low. So there's another direction, and try to keep waving with that low point of the torso, just above the pubic bone and the sacrum. The second direction is probably quite an unnatural feeling. And I think my body wants to just keep reverting to the first way. Focusing. Even if what you're doing feels really awkward. Great. Now we're going to bring the torso, sorry, wrong word, the pelvis as far forward as you can. So you're going to feel around for your sacrum. Does it feel like it's vertical or even still tipping back? Can you get it to tip forward a little bit? We're not worrying too much about the rest of the spine. You've noticed that the spine will follow this part of the body. We make this the leader. So let your spine feel comfortable reaching from the sacrum. And then bone by bone, imagine each bone of your spine pressing towards the front of your body. Ooh, really activating your forward bend. Finding your breath, the rhythm of your breath, and a deep appreciation for your body. Beautiful. And then releasing. Ooh, we might do our twist seated. So swap your legs the other way. We're going to take the right arm behind and you're going to try and hold your left arm. Now, I can hold my upper arm, but maybe you can't quite reach and you're holding more your forearm or your wrist. And then what we do with the left hand is try to walk it along your leg as far as you can to your right. So I'm going to wiggle my fingers and hold somewhere in the direction of the right so that my torso is turning. So again, that strong arm bind is helping to bring the bones of the spine forward. Mm. And finding the breath, movement of it. Accepting the awkwardness of this movement. Nice work. And release that side. Let's swap the cross of the legs again. I forgot to say, of course, you don't need to sit in cross legs if that hurts your knee. Sit with your legs out where it's more comfortable. It's the long spine. Too much hair this morning. Left hand behind. And we're going to reach across and take hold of the right arm. You might only be able to reach down to your wrist to get a hold, but that's all right because you can bring your right fingers onto your leg. So you're going to walk your fingers in the direction of your left leg. Maybe you can hold your upper arm. And then we're turning the torso to the left. Use your arm bind, as awkward as it is, to allow the bones of the spine to really express forward. Let the spine take up space. Finding your breath. Find what nourishes you here. Beautiful. And then releasing and come back to center. If you'd like to stay for Shavasana, relaxation, we're going to lay down onto our back. You need to finish your practice. Namaste. Relaxation will be another time. Lay down. When you lay down, if you put your legs out straight and there's any tightness in your lower back, then a blanket, the one that we were using at the beginning of the practice, underneath your thigh, can feel really relieving. So take that if you need it. Other little piece of equipment might be a little bit of head support if you feel like you're having to reach your head back to the floor. So take any support that you might need, or just the floor if that's enough. Try to feel your spine is long. So tuck the tailbone up to the ceiling before you put the legs out. Tuck your shoulder blade down towards your back waist so they sit flat against your back. Arms are out from the sides of the body a little, and palms rolling up rolls the upper arms out so the chest is broader, the armpits are more spacious. There's more room for the breath. We're intending to lie still, but of course the breath moves the body. There's no need for any intention towards physical movement other than the breath. Yeah, relax. And for our nervous system to check in with all that new information from the practice, bringing your focus to each place in your body as it's mentioned. Toes, soles of your feet, arches of your feet, tops of your feet, your heels and your ankles, your lower legs and your knees, your thighs and your hips, belly, pelvic floor, buttock, lower back, middle back, between your shoulder blades, the rib cage, shoulders, armpits, upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists and hands, and thumbs and fingers, the back of your neck and your throat, the base of your skull and scalp, forehead, around your eyebrows, between them, around your eye, your nose and your mouth, lips and tongue and jaw, ears, and the whole body now, in the spotlight of your focus, breath by breath. Mm. Feeling yourself supported by the floor, building, earth. Feel you're part of that great breath, your very own part of that breath, how it connects us all. And feel now each little movement that you make, wiggling your hands and your feet, bending in your arms and your legs, and turning to your right. And when you feel ready, come up and have a seat. Bringing your hands in front of your heart. And take the feeling of breath with you. Namaste.